Welcome Year 7 to this follow-up video designed to show you the end of creating the shadow quiz, adding certain extra features. Now the first feature we're going to add is to colour in these boxes. Okay, we want to have green for correct and red for wrong. Now to do that we can utilise this feature up here called Conditional Formatting. Conditional Formatting allows you to change the font colour and the background colour for any cell based on the contents of that cell. Now if you look at the cells that are highlighted, correct needs to be green, wrong needs to be red. So what I'm going to do is to tell the computer how to colour in the cells as I want them. To do that, I'm going to use this option, Highlight Cell Rules, and I'm going to use the equal to option. You'll notice that you can do numerical conditional formatting using greater than and less than, but for this particular example, I just want to say if the cell is equal to correct, then I would like it to colour in a particular colour. You'll notice that the drop-down has some selections inbuilt, and on this version, the web version, there's only a limited number of different colour formats you can use. Luckily, the ones we want are actually already there. So green fill with dark green text is perfectly good for what we want. So when the cell is equal to correct, we want a green fill with dark green text. And if I click OK, you'll notice that automatically fills in. Let's select the cells again and let's add in a corresponding rule for so wrong is going to require some light red fill with dark red text. That will work well. Okay, and there we are. Now if I put in a correct answer, for example, to Batman here, you'll notice that changes. If I change Captain America, does that look like? Yeah, Mr. Sparrow, of course. Okay, you'll notice that automatically changes. Now the final thing we want to do is to pop together a little score up here at the top, some sort of overall score. And what we can do is we can add together on each row how many corrects we have. Now, looking by eye, I can see that I have 3 correct, so I would put the number 3 in here. And if, for example, I had some correct answers in this particular row, if I had a similar thing going on, say there were 2 answers there, I would want to have a total out of the 10 scores of 5. So I want this to say score equals 5. So what I can do is I can change this into a formula which will automatically have the score visible on screen. So I can say equals, so it's a formula. The word score is going to be an absolute string, what we call a literal string. So I'm going to have letters, the 6 letters, score with a space at the end, surrounded by double quotes, followed by, and we can use the and symbol in Excel to join together some text, the sum, adding them together, of G7, G11. Okay, and that will cover both of those cells. And if I want to do a third row for 15 questions, I can add in G, whatever the number will be, for the total at the end of those. Okay, so that gives me a score of 5. And if there were all 5 answers correct in this row, that would give me a score of 8. Now, obviously, it's pretty unsatisfactory to require the person to work out their own number of correct answers. So what we want to do is to replace this number 3 here with an automatic count of how many items there are correct. And that's what I've just done manually. I've looked along this row and I've looked for how many correct there were and I typed that number in. So we can get the computer to do that counting operation for us. Surprise, surprise, it's another formula with a function in it. In this case, it's going to be a function that's going to do some counting. Now, when I type in count, the computer gives me a prediction of possible formulas I might want to use. And you can actually wander down each of these and have a little read of the instructions to find out which one we want to use. Count A, for example, counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. That's not going to be useful here. Count blank is the opposite, counts the number of cells that are empty. However, the one I want to use is COUNTIF, counts the number of cells within a range that meet a given criteria. So what I can do with COUNTIF is I can give the computer a range to look in other words, please have a look across these cells from B7 to F7, and then the criteria can be what I'm looking for it to find, in this case, correct. Okay. And if I press enter, you'll notice it's correctly coming up with 3. This formula can be copied and pasted to this cell to do exactly the same in this row. And if I manually type in correct into this cell, you'll notice it automatically counts that item. But this automatic counting and automatic totaling at the top is something which you can add to your spreadsheet. My final step would be to format this cell a little bit nicer, and also to make sure that these boxes can't be seen. Change the ink color to the same as the background, in other words, white text on a white background, and those cells are effectively hidden. I hope this has given you some clues on how to complete your quiz. What I want you to do is to complete all of your quiz, make it look really great, test it, and show in your OneNote some examples of the questions correct and some of the questions incorrect, and some examples, screenshots of your formulas, showing how you've used some of the advanced ones. Good luck.